Hey, I am getting tea because today, also, if you don't know me, hi, I'm C, and you are probably new here. Welcome. Today, brand new look. I actually am going to talk about being late to the know about being autistic. Okay, should say my lived experience as a black female bodied person that grew up in the United States, as also in their 50s. So which means Gen X. Okay. In all of the, and well, not all of the, but most of the memes that about Gen Xers, right? Yeah, it's like, so let me just check off the boxes of what did you get to experience as Gen X, right? So yes, I drank from the hose. Okay, the hose water is the best water. Fight me. It's probably why I'll probably live to be 110. Who knows what chemicals were in that and in that hose? But probably the reason why we all is getting this video at this age. Hose water for the win. So yes, was there a time where your parents would just like your parent or parent, whoever was at home, would like go outside? Yeah, and they meant that. Like, don't come back for a minute, a while. Okay, literally don't come back until the street lights come on. And even then, at least in my house, yeah, there was some grace period there, so which was wonderful. Because I enjoyed just roaming around the neighborhood, like when I was younger in Michigan. And like a couple of houses that we were in had a creek at the back. And for y'all who don't know, a creek is a creek, okay, which is a small stream with various bugs and um, rocks and all sorts of wonderful and sundry natural things to explore and whatnot. So yeah, I grew up um, either reading a book, and by book, that also means the couples of sets of encyclopedias that we had at the house because there was, because yes, I was also at the house where, if you said you were bored, that means you get chores. So the B word never, ever was to come out of the mouth. Okay, not out of your mouth, not listen. I think I may have slipped up and said it maybe once. And it's not a lesson you have to learn twice. Because, oh, you bored? Here, do this. And then do this. Before you know, you're dead, shot, cooked, done. So, yeah, it was definitely bored was not a thing in my house. So, if I wasn't reading a book or encyclopedia or magazine or heck, even cereal box when I was um, a child, then I was outside, ride the bike, walk around, um, meet up with some friends in the neighborhood, kind of thing. So yeah, that was, you know, what else about Gen X? Like things have I seen on YouTube or IG that's kind of funny that I'm like, yup. Oh, and the lady that goes like, yeah, I'm like Etch a Sketch old. Yeah. Etch a Sketch old, like double Dutch bus record old. Um, gosh, I just so many things. How? Oh yeah, definitely. Like have to fix your cassette by putting a pencil in the hole and like fidgeting with the tape thing and winding it back old. Oh man, so glad the CDs came out. Yeah, so like weird, like pre-internet old, pre-Google old. Oh man, what else? It's kind of wild when I think about it. When I was watching those videos, I was like, holy cow. Oh, sidebar, did I mention I want to get a drink, get some get some tea. This video's gonna be long. Because I'm sure you're gonna be like, well, what was your experience growing up, not knowing you're autistic, not knowing any of that, right? Let's take a sip. So I'm saying this to set the stage for you, right? Like, because I think like generationally, like that definitely matters for like baseline, right? So being that, at your schedule is like there was no there was no anti-bullying. That's just a fact. That was just the fact of childhood. You either learned how to fight or you learned to be funny. Um, and in that regard, I will throw hands. So that's how I dealt with bullies. Because also, my dad's from Detroit, so yeah. I still remember this one time, and this is still I'm setting you up the stage for it. This is how I grew up. I remember this one time I couldn't have been like what, maybe 5 to 7 or something like that, and I got in a brand new bike. We're living in Detroit at the time, and so I went around the block or whatever, and this boy like stole my bike, like pushed me off my bike, um and I went home crying. And so my dad, he was like, "You better fix your face and go get your bike." Like, yeah, that's how I grew up. So when I say I learned how to throw hands, I learned how to throw hands early and often because a lot of people want to try somebody. I don't know, I don't get it. But anyway, but really and truly, this was really a bookworm, a nerd. I love lots of books and whatnot. And so that was a challenging childhood because not just, you know, and I would say, like, I'd say just like, but generationally speaking, I don't think like that whole generation yet. I mean, traumatic. I'm like, no, not the. I mean, depending on like if your individual house had like abuse or anything else like that, that could have been like a trauma or whatever. But I'm speaking like generally like Gen X. I don't feel like I was super traumatic. I feel like maybe it was pretty. I don't know. At least if you were an introvert and you're a really um, just into taking care of yourself kind of person, I feel like maybe it wasn't traumatic. At least, listen, these are opinions. This is one person's opinions. Okay, this is my opinions. And so I found the aspect of having just a lot of space to explore and take care of things on your own, that kind of thing, was very instrumental in to, I don't know, just every other thing growing or just having to deal with things in adulthood. Um, and I feel like I definitely also say that I am, and for if this is one of those things, if you know, you know, um, eldest black daughter syndrome. I should definitely call it a syndrome because I feel like there are definitely these, you know, specific characteristics. Like if you're the eldest daughter in a black household, childhood wear. For a minute, you get a minute. You get 8 years maybe of childhood, and then you know, and then just societally speaking, it's like society at large wants to adultify black girls. So again, I feel like I maybe got 7 years, 7 years of childhood, and after that, it's just like straight to late teens, early 20s. Look after your younger sister. Make sure you do this. Blah 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 blah. Y'all can go look that up if you want to know more. Suffice it to say, yes, all those things. So now it's like, yes, is one of the things that I'm now working on. Hyper individualism. Yes. Okay. I'm working on working on the whole interdependence, and that because that's supposed to be a thing. Like, wow, really? I'm like, okay, that would be nice to, you know, um, be able to super gracefully and easily, like, ask for help. Like, I'm much better at it now because I've had all these years of practice. Like I said, I'm in my 50s. It's like I've had, and I say that, and you might hear like, oh, she's had many years to work on it. No, literally like 5. Like since I separated and then divorced, because abusive husbands are real. Especially like, 'cause we didn't get. I feel like Gen X, we did not get the best. Like some of us, the best examples of uh, marital bliss. Like marital bliss, like who, what, where, how? Not my household. Maybe y'all's household. And I'm happy for y'all for that. But mm-mm. So that's the thing. So I'm saying all this to say, now that's the stage for, you know, Black American women now after finding out many years later, and even after, having children that were, you know, 2E, not, I mean, it's weird. Like, I read all of these books for my kids and everything else like that. But also because those books back then were more written for, like, gifted kids that were 2E in certain specific things. I don't really feel like they had a lot of like autism focused stuff back then. And even if it was based on white boys. How that gonna help me? I had 2 black boys. So that don't help me at all. Um, and literally doubly not help me because like even after, divorce and separation and when I finally and I don't even remember. Oh yes, I do. I was gonna say I was just getting ready to fix my mouth to be like, oh, I don't remember how it became to me. But I was like, well, maybe I should explore this autism thing for myself. Um, actually, I can tell you the moment. I'll tell you the moment. I just happened to believe I happened upon the Temple Grandin story. Listen, if there and I and it was the scene um where they were showing the thing where like the visualization of like how her brain works when she was like doing some calculation about the cattle farming or like how the cages should be set up or something like that. And when they show that visualization, like I'm seeing it with my own visual mind, and I boohooed like a child. I was like, I was like, oh no. And then also, those other things that um, a few other points in the movie were when her mother was like talking about like redirecting her to kind of look people in the eye. I think I still have trauma from that, from being like talked down to and bullied into having to look people in the eye. Right? Because in Black culture, it's like disrespectful to not, because it's seen as like you're not paying attention to whoever you're talking to. So that was a point in the story, and I was just like, oh Lord. and her mother saying that Temple had to be like constantly just like exposed to like how to be neurotypical. I was like tears, and I was like, oh, and then it clicked for me, and I was like, oh no, I was like, oh no, like, and not just oh no, but like the oh no that's like down in your soul. It's like you realize the thing about yourself. It's like oh, oh my, OMG. Like I now need to know everything about this because this applies to me. Like I don't know, like, and you're gonna excuse my language for this because I'm gonna say like in terms of good, bad, but at the time this is how I was thinking. I was like, oh no, like how bad is it? And I was just like, I didn't really, I didn't really know. I was like, I say, like I said, I'm asking for like, give me grace for the good, bad thing because back then I was like, I didn't know like there were levels or you know anything like that. I now do. I know a lot more about how autism shows up in women and girls. Thank goodness. And then constantly discovering people's stories, women's stories, Black women's stories of being autistic. So I'm looking back from my lens of what the knowledge that I have, the knowledge that I have now, right? Yeah. So, um, and I'm saying like that was like the autism like aspect of things, but and also like at the time, I was also making friends with people that were like that I was finally like vibing with, right? And it just so happens like a few of my favorite people also had ADHD of some different kinds, or I should say, yeah, inattentive and then hyperactive and then other things because I knew men with ADHD. And then I even met a lady with ADHD. And yes, they were like completely different, but kind of similar in the energy. So I was like, and you know what they say? It's like, neurospicy tend to, hang out together. We have vibes. We have vibes with each other. Um, and so that was it. And there was another kind of, oh no, um, oh no. I'm like, oh no, but it's like, OMG. I was like, and now I have to go on a deep dive about this thing because like, um, what are the preclinical diagnostic tests for that, right? Because I should also say retroactively that, in all of the studies that I then had about um, autism in women and girls, was that there are, when you do a bunch of deep diving, I mean, this was also pre GPT, um, when you did a deep internet search, you could find the preclinical diagnostics the for that. And then there was even one lady's website who had a bunch of different tests that she wanted you to take and have results for in order to um, schedule a diagnostic session with her or a formal diagnosis session. So yeah, I filled out all of those tests. I think there were four of them, and it's really good that I did because it was like before I was like, oh well, I was like, oh yeah, maybe not, or it's not that bad. you've been getting along with life so far. Um, it's like, you haven't died yet, so you're all right. It's probably just a very Gen X thing. Oh, you're not dead yet. Just keep on going. Put power through. Um, and I'm saying that to say that, like, the powering through was really to, it took a lot of emotional energy and just a lot of energy to like complete the test themselves. And these were just for the autism diagnostic, preclinical diagnostic test. Oh my gosh. I know I'm like keeping on suspense. So what happened? What happened? Y'all, I scored so high on every single test that I was shocked. I was like, I was, I felt like I was glad there was like nobody else in the room with me because not, and this is going to be hard to explain to if you're neurotypical watching. Um, but if you're autistic watching and you're a woman, you're watching me. Now, I don't know if you know, but like we be internally having a whole meltdown and even stimming and probably like nobody would notice. But the level of just shutdown that I had, it just like after I took all the tests and I like reading the results on them, I'm just like just slow blinks. I'm like, I can't. So it's like the level of, it feels like, take a deep breath, like deep down. And I was like, okay, so that's a thing. Yeah. And and so I wound up reading through the rest of the doctor's website, right? And here's again one of those things that I don't like about the American medical system is that, it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to get a formal diagnosis, which, I'm, clearly this doctor knows because she had the the preclinical test like on her website to take, which I was extremely grateful for. And it even says, it's like, listen, if you score high enough on this, just just yes, you are super 90% likelihood, or just you're 90% level that yes, you're autistic, and just own that and start to read more about it, get familiar with how you personally function as an autistic person, and there's like a bunch of other really helpful ways of now living after kind of like knowing like what the dealio is. So that was helpful. And I said, this was, I want to say 2022, honestly. Um, and it, birds are having a day. Very, birds are eating all the good bird food out there. Anyway, um, so, having sat with that for, I mean, I feel like it was a constant state of unfolding on that. And yes, I'm looking at the clock now, and this clock is getting ready to do all of this, make all this noise. It's not all this noise, but make noise for the top of the hour. So I'll let y'all listen to that. But anyway, um, and then I don't know, maybe with this you might not hear it. We'll see. Um, so yeah, and I also have to say, like at that point in my time, I was like studying really, really heavily for all of these, for getting into cybersecurity at the time. Like heavily, I think I was probably. mid boot camp, not even, maybe at the end of boot camp. Yeah, I had this realization, or I should say, not realization. It was like at the top of boot camp, and then I kind of, I had a couple of weeks to sit with it. Boot camp started, and then, oh man, we'll just have a drink, shall we? Let's hydrate. Mm, delicious. Okay. So anyway, um, yeah. So boot camp happened, and then I didn't have any space to think about digesting any more about that, except for maybe the fact that um, then I knew the systems were gonna help me as an autistic person with getting things done, and so too would consistency and also doing everything to reduce decision fatigue while I was doing something that required a lot of mental work, mental deep work. But also, mental deep work is kind of like our superpower as autistic people. So I was like, yay. Those were the things I kind of took into boot camp with me that I knew were going to serve me. I took the positives and didn't take any of the negatives. So I had to deal with the negatives. But when after the boot camp was over, yeah, um, and what I now know was like some sort of like meltdown because I literally, like, after boot camp was over and I got my really great grade, I got like what, 95, 96%, like out of all the things that I did at the boot camp. Even got an offer for, um, they're like, hey, can we put you on the list to be, um, not what they call it, like it's like a TA basically, and you get paid to do that. I was like, absolutely. And they're like, oh, you did really well, and I'm like, hey, that's great. Um, and so after that, seeing the great grades and being put on the short list for being like the TA type thing, um, I just was like done. And it was happened for like maybe 3 weeks. Like I swear, I don't think I even read a book for fun. It was wake up, work out a little bit, and then I think maybe watch YouTube videos like my brain had just like was like like powering down, and that was my brain for like it might be 2 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks or something like that, and then it was like fire back up and get back in the flow because I had to pass I felt like I had to pass the security plus like right away. Um, but then also in learning, more about autism and things like that, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's the after effect of really just going hard in the paint, super hard in the paint for weeks and weeks and weeks and trying to keep up with neurotypicals, right? Let's figure out a different way to do that. And by do that, I mean do life differently too. How neurotypicals operate, because up until that point, I've been 40, 40 some years of 5+ years of trying to function like a neurotypical. And I just think I'm just like, oh, poor me. You did not know, and it would have been so helpful to know. But so after boot camp, but now knowing, and after just having a period of just flatness, not, I feel like it was the weird, it was the strangest time because like I remember the time, and I just remember like again, like a Gen X thing, we just power through. Also a neurotypical, just power through. Um, and I'm telling you now, as an autistic person, if you didn't already know, or maybe you're listening to the story, And we need this reminder power. Let's give away the power of you to someone else. Let's not do that for our own health, really, literally health, physical health, mental health, all the health, spiritual. Oh my God, spiritual health. Listen, the whole woo thing. I'm not gonna go there in this video, but suffice it to say, find yourself a spiritual practice as well, as that will it will bring you through the hard times, the face meltingly challenging times, the literal meltdown when you can't think, when, yeah, when it feels like you can't think straight. Just a spiritual practice, like a literal, um, again, like I guess it's pretty solid. A system that'll bring you something that you can do. It's just on autopilot that will bring you through like whatever meltdown and things like that. You know, if you don't have um, a person on hand or uh, somebody that knows that you're autistic and can help you through um, an emotionally challenging time or a mentally challenging time, just past the meltdown or whatever. And anyway, so he knows. I'm saying that to say that being autistic and being so late to the game and knowing has it's and also now a couple years into what they call unmasking and also having the amazing um, gift of now seeing autistic black women on YouTube. Shout out to oh my gosh, I forget the other ladies channel, but it's super interesting that she talks about things that I do that I was that it was just good to see that other autistics do as well. And I was like, yes. Um, it, what's the word? Just think that this feels really deep, deep down. It's like exciting to to see. But it's like, yeah, it's the joy. It's like, I'm like, they do the thing too. Yay! So this is super, super fun, wonderful. So yeah, so far. So, and I was saying about the American medical system for diagnostics and things like that because one of the things that I am most looking looking forward to doing when I go to Southeast Asia is to actually get a formal diagnostic that doesn't cost me like thousands and thousands of dollars to get done. You know, hallelujah. Okay, like um, yeah. So I should say I'm excited, but I'm also a bit reticent about it because it's like, okay, I can take the preclinical test for it and pretty much know with 90% accuracy that yeah, I'm autistic, but it's a whole different other thing when I just to me in my imagine like when I run the movie, the the future movie of it, it's like I'm sitting down in front of this other person, other human who's seen lots of other autistic people, lots of other neurospicy people, and also neurospicy people that are like not American, right? Because as doctor, they do all sorts of they do diagnostics with people from all around the world, which means to also says to me in my brain, you're not gonna have the bias of you know saying that oh because you're a black woman that's just your culture or something like that. So I'm like I get it'll be it probably I see that as it'll have be a bit weird, and that I'll be in front of somebody who really is gonna see me, that I have to really talk about me and talk about things honestly. Um, that's my experience, and um, being in my 50s and then going to go get like a formal diagnosis. And you might ask also, like, well, why get a formal diagnosis? And I think for me, it would be helpful to have it documented, right? Because suppose, like, what if, like, one day I do want to, go work at a company. Oh, that sounds weird to say. Me go corporate. I don't know. Maybe one day there's a corporation out there, or just a smaller company that actually gives their employees what they need to be successful, and to say that, hey, I'm autistic, and when I say working remotely is how I most effectively work, be like, yes, this, yes, I have paperwork that says that. Um, yeah, your office is a minefield of sensory issues for me. So there's that. So it would be helpful to have actual documentation that says, yeah, this is what it is. Um, so yay, Southeast Asia. The doctor that does the diagnosis, yay. Looking forward to a formal one. Even though, yeah, I already know. And I've already been acting in accordance and unmasking, and it has been definitely, um, it makes my life a whole lot more spacious to not just um, push through, right? Or try to power through, or